I was asked a question from ChatGPT. Interesting. So I'll tell you, although I suspect you probably can get an equally good answer from ChatGPT. The most important principle is about what I call the holy grail of investing, and that's about diversification. What it means is, in a nutshell, I could describe it as if you can get 10 or 15 good uncorrelated investments, you can reduce your risk by up to 80% without reducing your return. That means you increase your return to risk ratio by a factor of 5. Risk reduction is really key. So it's to know how to diversify well in the area of 10 or 15 investments. If you can do that, then you will make a fortune, because making a fortune is not just a matter of the upside. It eliminates or reduces the downside, so you continue to play the game. A lot of people think that the way you make a lot of money is to come up with the best single or few bets. That's wrong. That approach to the game will knock you out of the game. You'll have one terrible situation. Keep in mind that what you don't know is greater than what you do know. And so the power of diversification is a really great power. So I'd like you to understand, what are you good at? What do you know and what don't you know? And then how do you diversify well to have a good return relative to your risk? That's the most important principle.
I think what you're seeing with ChatGPT is just the tip of the iceberg, and how you're going to think. That you will increasingly go to your device and you're going to be following that device. You'll get better advice out of your device than your own thoughts. And you're going to see it happen in an enormous number of areas. For example, it used to be that you needed to know something about math and arithmetic, and then you get a calculator. Then you evolve information. You used to have to remember things. Nowadays, you can so easily look up all history. It's at your device. Now you're going to more and more be able to say, what is the best thinking? Who is the best thinking? Where am I going to get the best thinking? What can be done? And you'll be following the instructions on your device. And I think that that's not a bad thing. This is a good thing in many ways, because it elevates us. It's part of an evolutionary process in which technology is increasingly replacing parts of man. The physical you. In the old days, physical labor mattered. More and more than machines replace that. And as we go and ascend to higher and higher levels of thinking, that the brain increasingly is being able to use, and that raises you, because you can then think about, how do I think? What are the principles? So for example, if you think about principles, and I think about this tool in the form of principles, you can go get the best principles from wherever they may come and consider them, and then also make your own principles. So I think all of this helps to elevate us, but it's going to change the dimension of the world that we're in.
Avoid the following mistake, the most common mistake of investing: thinking that the investment that did good is a good investment. People rather more expensive. The things that quite often, those markets that did really, really well became more expensive, and everybody, smart money, is all the time comparing them and competing. So what happens is the naive money buys the thing that was hot or is hot. The thing that has been terrible, which might be the thing that's beaten down. So I would say also an important element, okay, so here's another one that's really important: diversify. Because what I learned about this is that, first of all investments compete, and it's not easy to tell whether one investment is better than the other, because if people could do that, life would be easy and everybody'd make a ton of money. And this is a competitive game that's very difficult to compete in. So it's very difficult to say which one's better or worse. You could take experts and do all sorts of tests, and you'll find out that they can pick that, and you can't tell whether the worst ones are going to be better. So because of that, You understand that even picking the best ones is difficult, and particularly if you're naive. Like, we spend hundreds of millions of dollars each year on research to try to give us an edge.
Wow.
Okay. Now you've got to compete with us. So competing in the markets is more difficult than competing in the Olympics. You wouldn't go think I'm going to compete in the Olympics, but there are more people who try harder in order to do that. So it's a zero-sum game. So, but diversification, that they're different, will reduce your risk without reducing your return.